A very good afternoon to all the participants connected with us for the last session of today. I hope my PowerPoint presentation is available with all of you and I'm clearly audible.
Ma'am, you're audible.
Yes,
We are
ma'am.
just seeing your Google Meet screen right now, ma'am.
My sincere apologies for joining late today for this particular session because I was busy with some another session. I'm going to start with my session on project management, risk taking, and creativity. Before I start this particular session,
Ma'am, you got muted.
I hope I'm audible now, Manisha.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. So, dear participants, before I start my discussion for this topic, that is risk taking and creativity, my request to the participants to kindly give me few examples of a successful project. I hope up to now you have covered many of the topics related to this particular aspect of project management. As per your opinion, what are the different project or what are the different characteristics on the basis of which you consider a project as a successful project? Yes, any member from the group?
The PowerPoint is visible, ma'am. You're audible also.
Thank you. Yes. So, any member from the group who would like to interact, what do you mean by a successful project?
Ma'am, good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, successful project when we are getting the as output from the project without any, we are getting a complete completion without any hurdle
Thank
or
you very much, ma'am, for the
error uh, as per the sequence we are following in our project. It
May
may
I know
be,
your good name, ma'am?
ma'am, it's Jivanjot.
Thank you very much, Evanjot, ma'am. So when it comes to the project, as rightly added by ma'am, when it comes to the project, successful project means that we are able to deliver all the outcomes, all the benefits as per the objectives defined for that particular project. Those outcomes and those deliverables or benefits is required by the organization that is handling that particular project. When it comes to the outcomes and benefits, we have defined certain objectives in a project. There are certain delivery partners for whom we are working for that particular project, even the other stakeholders in the organization. So if all those outcomes and benefits are received during that particular project, at the end of the project, we consider that project as a successful project. So we said that those deliverables are there as per the objective defined in that particular project. Sometimes during the project implementation part, the objectives need to be bit modified or need to be bit enlarged as per the demand of customers or as per the demand of the stakeholders. So if during that project implementation phase, any new deliverable that is considered as a success of the project is meeting the requirement as per the agreed requirement, in that particular case, the project is considered in as successful. Time management in the project management plays an important role. If we are able to do our project on time, that project is surely a successful project. Budget we need to consider. So financial budget, if we are in the stay within that financial budget, that is again another characteristic on the basis of which we consider that yes, we are able to deliver a successful project to our customer. We have number of resources that we are going to utilize in a project. That resources must be available in the organization, And sometimes we hire resources, sometimes we buy resources from the other organization also. So we have to identify the list of the vendors which are going to provide us those resources. And if we are able to optimally utilize those resources as per the demand of the project, in that particular case, the project outcome will be successful. Take account of changes in the way the organization operate. So during the project management, if any change or any uncertainty happen, and we as project leaders able to manage those change, able to identify those change, we will be able to deliver a successful project. Manage any risk during the project. If we are before the project also, we need to identify few of the risk, and during the project if any uncertainty arises in the form of the risk, and we as a project member or the project leader able to manage those risks, the project will surely be a successful project. And at the same time, in this changing working culture, if we are able to manage the needs of the stakeholder, if we are able to account the need of the team members of the project, we consider that project is successful from all the angles. So these are few of the characteristics on the basis of which projects are considered as a successful project. So we need to understand that before going to our topic discussion, that is risk taking and creativity, the next thing that we need to understand is projects are of different nature. Say, for example, you are going through this particular program, and there are many concepts that is introduced to all of you in the last 2 days and in the coming 2 days. These are the basic guidelines. But when an actual project is being handled or delivered by you as a project leader, we need to understand that projects may be of different nature. In the last session, I was listening to the discussion that is carried forward to Sunil Dutt sir. There is an activity assigned to all of you where you have to write few of the milestone events, identify the project, and there are variety of project that is selected by all of you. So one of the project that is selected or given by Dr. Sunil Dutt sir to you is planning for an STC organization. There are a number of ideas that is being given by the members. There are different kind of projects you all were discussing. So from that particular session itself, it is clear that every project is unique in terms of characteristics. Every project may have different kind of needs. So as a project leader, we need to consider that there are specific form of objective deliver benefit to the stakeholders or to the delivery partners. So if I'm taking the example of the project that is organization of STC, who will be our stakeholder? So our stakeholders are definite, they are defined by us. So it can be industry personnel, it can be research scholars, it can be students, it can be faculty members, and some of the STCs we are organizing for our technical staff also. So we have specific objectives every program as per our stakeholder. So when I'm going to organize a STC for my technical staff member, my objective is development of different kind of psychomotor skill along with the domain area of the technical staff so that they can efficiently handle the laboratory environment in an institute. When it comes to organizing FDP for the faculty, it may be related to the pedagogical area, it may be related to their core branch of specialization. So both STC are of different nature. So we are giving a different kind of specific objective as per the nature of that particular project. So projects are different by nature depending upon who are our stakeholders, and based on those stakeholders, excuse me, based on those stakeholders, what are the different delivery partners we are able to identify. Next, when we said the projects are of different nature, it may introduce a significant change to the way we operate. Say, we are taking an example of STC organization project only. Say before pandemic, there were STCs that we were able to handle in a physical mode or in a contact mode. During pandemic, we completely shifted our STC organization to online mode. After pandemic, we are shifting to hybrid mode, physical mode, and there are STCs that are only online STC. So if there is any change happened during that particular project organization, we need to change the mode of the project. So depending upon the significant change that is happening, our objective or our implementation of the project is going to be changed. Create new output or deliverable that will enable benefits to be realized. Say, for example, for the promotion growth, professional growth of the faculty members and of the technical staff, there are specific SPCs or FTP that is defined in the comprehensive policy of ACT or as per March 2019 Gazette notification. So, being a faculty of NITTTR Chandigarh, we need to keep in focus that what are the demands in terms of FTPs or in terms of STCs in the policy guidelines. So according to that, we need to design our operational plan so that our stakeholder will be benefited after undergoing these professional training programs. So depending upon the kind of output or depending upon the kind of the deliverable, we need to change the objective or we need to change or to have the desired output. Sometimes due to the management issues or due to the temporary governance activities also, the project can be of a different nature. But the point of discussion is project may have different objective, project may have different deliverables, project may have different kind of governance policies, project may be handled by the different teams in an organization. One thing is sure that during the project implementation or during even before project implementation, there are certain uncertainties that we need to keep in our focus. We some of the uncertainties we need to predict beforehand before we start working on that particular project, and some of the uncertainties happen during the project implementation. Say, for example, I'm going to organize an STC and I hired number of experts from the outside organization. And suppose Friday is the last day of my STC and my expert is not able to come to our institute or not able to deliver that particular lecture. So that is a kind of risk that is associated when we are organizing STCs or hiring experts from the outside organization. So as a project leader of that particular STC, what will be my course of action? So there is a risk, there is uncertainty always involved with the project. That is why various projects sometimes fail. So what can be the probable reason why the project fail? Failure can be the project. Yes, any member from the group who can identify the factors? Whatever project you have identified, do you think of that what can be the probable factor that my project might end up as a failed project? Any member from the group? So what are the different reasons on the basis of which we can say that the project is a failure project? Will not be able to complete project on time. Not proper planning. Thank you very much, sir.
Ma'am, poor management.
Poor management. Okay.
And the tie-ups, if we don't have such tie-ups, failure to
I think it is Dr. Jeevan only.
like ma'am, this happened in a COVID time when we already planned and it will get failed due to the COVID. So everything gets online. So it's quite difficult that time to handle the project.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for the input provided. So, as rightly added by both of the participants, the project can be failed. Firstly, when we said the project is failed, so at a larger end, the project fail if I'm not able to identify and if I'm not able to influence the stakeholders. Sometimes the customers ever changing their demands. On Monday, the demand is different. Friday, the demand is different. Next week, the demand is different. So we are changing the mind, and that change impact the project delivery. So as a project leader, sometimes we are failed to identify the needs of our stakeholder. and sometimes we are not able to influence our stakeholder. We are not able to manage the ongoing changes that is occurring again and again during that project identification. We have failed to communicate to our project stakeholders about the development of the project. Sometimes it happened. Last week, I was interacting with some architecture team, and the team member, project leader of the team, said that the town planning or planning residential building, two different aspects of our project. So when we are working with a residential building kind of a project, it is very difficult for us to handle, because once the structure is there, customer come to visit the site and then said that this kind of structure is not possible for me. Even I want to change the interior or the structure at large. So sometimes the customer ever demanding changes, and sometimes the project leader are failed to communicate with the delivery partners the kind of changes that is happening in the project. The project become failure at the end. If there is a lack of attention, so Jeevan said poor management, and even another participant also said the poor management. So when the project we are working on a project in an organization, if there is a lack of attention at the part of the project leader and other management people, in that particular case also, sometimes we are not able to identify the needs of customer. We are not able to identify the kind of deliverables and their quality, and project results into a failure project. Sometimes what happens, project leads to a gold plated solution. Those solutions are very expensive. So when we said those solutions are very expensive, as a project team member or as a project leader, whenever we are finding any solution for a given problem, we need to find out that is there a simpler way to solve a problem at hand? If it is not, only then I need to go for a gold plated solution. Otherwise, the most simplest solution need to be identified that are more user friendly. Failure to identify and deal with the many risks that can affect the achievement of the project objective. And surely, if inappropriate planning is there, inappropriate management is there, monitoring is not there, control is not there, that case also many of the project fail. So as a project leader, we need to identify, we need to communicate well. There must be a proper management and planning, started from the resources up to the financial constraint. We also need to keep in our mind. And for the stakeholder with whom we are working for the project, the timely communication related to the project deliveries must be there, so that if there is any change or any uncertainty at the part of the delivery holder, we are able to capture that need on time and able to complete the project within the defined objective. So that need to be considered important. So these are few of the points on the basis of which the project considered as a failed project. Failure to take into account the need and influences of stakeholder, keep the stakeholder informed of the development, lack of attention to the impact of the project work. There are gold-plated solutions provided by the team or the project leader, failure to identify and deal with many risks, insufficient attention to the planning, monitoring, and control of the work. So that is why we need to have definition of the risk beforehand whenever we are going to plan any of the project for any of the organization. So what we mean by risk? Risk is an uncertain event or condition that, if it occurs, has a positive or negative effect on the project objective. So when we said an uncertain event or a nature, so it has an impact on the objective of the project. So risks for a project always discussed in terms of its goal and objective. Whatever objective, whatever goals you have defined for your project, in that line only we are going to discuss different risks related to the project. When we said risks are there, there can be four different situations to deal with the risk. One is, as a member of the project team or as a project leader, I can avoid that risk. If that risk do not have any impact, any significant impact on the project objective, Excuse me. If that risk do not have any impact on the project objective or the project goal, we can avoid that particular risk depending upon up to what extent we are able to analyze the risk at hand. If the impact of the risk is known as per the defined objective, in that particular case, as a project member or as a project leader, we need to put maximum efforts to reduce that risk. Sometimes there are risks that can be shareable. So when I said that can be shareable, we need to influence the stakeholder, the delivery partner, that the kind of the risks that are very certain to occur and how we are able to minimize losses at the both end. In that particular case, we are in the process of sharing that risk, and there are certain risks so at the end of the project going to give us a positive kind of impact on the project objective. So, as a project management leader, as a project member, we need to retain those risks. We need to continuously or periodically monitor those risks so that no uncertain event happens due to project execution. Ultimately, at the end of the project, those risks will result into a positive impact. So, when we said avoiding the risk or sharing the risk or retaining the risk, means during life cycle of the project assessment, specifically the project implementation, and in project processing part, we need to identify that how it is possible for me, how it is possible for me to avoid that risk. Say, for example, in your department, say we were taking an example of STC organization as a project. For example, in your department, there is only one faculty who is specialized in the area in which the department is going to offer that STC. Say, it means that STC organization, that expertise is available with only one member of that department. When you are going to organize this STC, timetable is already planned, time schedule is planned, dates are planned, information is conveyed to all the stakeholders, to all the DTs, to all the universities. So you floated that project already, and say that physical faculty member to whom that specialization is available is not able to come to the day when you need to start with that STC. Maybe due to physical reason that faculty is not able to come up on that particular day, what will happen? So that is the biggest risk that we are carrying with our department. The solution, the processing of this particular risk need to be first, the head of the department or the director of the institute need to create an environment where sharing of knowledge is there. So when I'm saying the sharing of knowledge is there, gradually we need to train all the members of the department in the field of specialization. So if my department is education and education management and we are organizing STC in the field of pedagogy and management, so to avoid certain risks, so these are critical risks. So and our negative impact on our organization. So avoid these kind of risks, we need to start sharing information with each other. Gradually, we need to gain the ability of the mentioned department in which they are going to organize STC in future. So collective knowledge needs to be developed at institute level. We are, in this particular case, we are not avoiding the risk. So risk taking means we are taking the risk to organize certain activities. If we are not developing collective knowledge, someday, maybe not this year, maybe next year, this risk will be occurred. So we need to develop sharing of information and collective knowledge at department level. That departmental activities are not totally dependent on an individual faculty, or the departmental faculty is well trained in organizing short-term training program. So we are not avoiding the risk. We are sharing that risk. We are retaining that risk, but at the same time, we are developing certain conditions so that we can minimize or we can zero down kind of impact that might be caused by that risk if we are not going to handle. So if this can be this can be one situation or one example by which we can say avoiding of the risk is not always essential. Sometimes we need to retain risk. We need to have learnings from those risks so that we can continuously develop. Another example may be say the delivery partner need a particular kind of an outcome, so it depends upon the customer behavior also, or customer have a different kind of technological needs. Say I'm organizing STC, one department or one university for which I'm organizing STC. They demanded that all the lectures must be in a hybrid mode. We need to have a print material also, and we need to have an e-content also available with us. Say on the day of STC, technology is not working fine with our institute. Google Classroom is not working, or the Google platform is not working. What is the other alternative that is available with me? So we are sharing risk with each other. What are the technology platforms available with us, and how we are using those platforms in the case if the risk arises. So we have to have early scheduling of few of the risk. So when I said early scheduling means multiple strategies need to be available with that project leader, that if one technological platform is fail, what are the other alternatives available with that leader? So we are reducing the impact of that certain event, and we are able to manage the risk in an appropriate manner. So risk may have a positive impact, risk may have a negative impact. So in the case when I'm saying that we are retaining the risk and we are developing a collective knowledge at departmental level, it means new faculty members or new entrants in the department maybe have more advanced information as compared to the previous faculty members who are at present working. So when we are developing that collective knowledge, that risk will result into benefits in terms of the organization of the short-term training program. So risk can be positive impact, risk can have a negative impact. It is the project leader and the members who are going to predict those risks and manage those risks. So risk can be avoided, risk can be shared, risk can be reduced, or sometimes risk can be retained depending upon how you are going to analyze that risk situation. So there are different categories of risk. If I talk about the categories of risk in a layman language, when we said a risk, it can be a beginner risk. So when we said a beginner risk, in this particular case, the beginner risk may involve uh, that we are not prepared because situation was very new for that particular organization. So in the last question, when I asked why the project failed, even Pratiman said sometimes we were not planned during the pandemic. We were failed to provide the learning deliverables to our students because we were not prepared for these kind of situations. So those risks are beginner risks. So we stumbled over the basic things, and we were not prepared because the situation was very new for us. So in that particular case, again, collective kind of effort need to be put in by the project team. Only then it is possible for us to overcome these kind of risk. The second category of the risk is the self-inflicted risk. Self-inflicted risk means when we were not properly planned. Initially, when we are in the process of finding out the project methodology, we are not considering all the dimensions of the project as a significant parameters, and sometimes we fail in the initial planning of the project. So those kind of risks are self-created. We are not able to thoroughly study the deliverables or the outcomes that are desired by our customers. Anticipated risk means there are certain risks that came out of the blue and have unpredictability by the project team or by the project manager. So unanticipated risk means when there is an emergency situation arises, how as a project leader or how as a project team member we are going to handle those kind of a risk situation. So in this particular case, when it comes to the unanticipated risk, continuously the project team or the employees of that particular organization must have some sort of training, so that if in near future any kind of risk related to your project activity arises, there are few of the members well trained to handle those kind of activities. Denying or avoiding risk, sometimes the risk occurred. We know these kind of activities happening all around, and these are going to impact, or these are going to negatively affect the project management skill at the organization, but we avoiding those risks by hoping that it would go away. But when the project is in the processing stage, sometimes it is very difficult for the project managers to handle those kind of risks. So when it comes to of the risk, another risk that may be considered having a negative impact on the successful project implementation is the communication. So when a project leader or team members are not able to communicate well with each other, some of the risks become reality. They got worse over the period of time, and we told management only when we are forced to do so. Say, for example, the last example that we were discussing, that if there is only one specialized available at the department to organize few of the STC, if that specialized is not available for 2 to 3 months of a span in a year, what will happen to that particular department? Their efficiency, their effectiveness is going to be decreased. So communication is the best tool when these kind of situation arises. These are the predictable kind of risk. If we are not going to handle and communicate well to our management that what will be the future of our department, or what will be the course of action the management people need to do, in that particular case, the project is certainly and surely going to be fail. So when it comes to categorizing risk or finding out the solution of these kind of the risk, we must have multiple solutions available with us. If we do not have multiple solutions and we are not able to find out the pros and cons of the risk solution that we are able to identify, sometimes we will be back to the square. We will not able to deliver the objective as per the project guidelines. So these are the few of the risks that we need to consider. In other sense, if we talk about the literature in a project management, the risks are categorized in 3 different categories. The very first one is the business risk, second is the technical risk, and third is project risk. So when we say business risk, say for example, I am developing a product that no one needs. So for example, in STC organization, I am designing a very fancy titles of the STC, but as per the policy guidelines, there is no demand of such type of STC. So in that particular case, we are losing our budgetary constraints also, budgetary commitments also. We are failed to deliver as per the demands of our customers. So building a product that no one want is a major risk for an organization. So in this particular case, the business risk can be handled by which there is one technique that we can foresee the future risk, that is visioning and futuring. Keeping in mind the vision and mission of your organization, what will happen after say 3 years or after 4 years as per the policy guidelines that we are having right now. So we can foresee our future risk also, and we are not going to put extra effort and efficiency of our faculty member to develop such kind of a product that is of no use in near future. Second kind of the risk is the technical kind of a risk. Technical risks are basically related with the quality of the product that is produced by any organization. So technical risks are related to the quality. It can be related to the design aspects of the project. It can be related to the interface or implementation phase of the project, or technical risk also related to the maintenance or part of the project. Say for the same project example, STC organization, say nowadays when you as a faculty need to participate any of the short-term training program, any of the workshop or a training program, you need to register yourself online. if registration is not completed, the certificate will not be issued. So, and suppose that on XYZ day, NITTTR website is not working, and that day is the last day for STC's registration. If STC website is not working, the participant will not be able to register for a given STC. So that is a technical kind of the risk that is associated with that STC organization project. Third category of major category of the risk is the project risk. So project risk considered with the schedule of the project. Is it considered with the cost of the project, the kind of resources we need to have, and other customer related issues. So whenever we are planning for any kind of a project, initially we need to predict some of the risks that are associated with the project, and we need to have multiple solutions for those predictable risks. There can be some other uncertainties that happening during the project management, during the project implementation. In that particular case, we need to find out the strategies that how we can reduce the impact of those risks. So that need to be considered by the project team or the project leader. So that is why there is a risk management strategy in every project. So when it comes to the risk management, it is to identify, classify, and prioritize risk in risk management. So when we said identify, prioritize, and classify risk, it means we are going to foresee risk, we are going to journalize that what can be the impact of those risks, and we must be able to define response to the various risk that is being identified. So risk management process also involve three different stages. First, you need to plan unanticipated risk, what can be the solutions for those risks, how we are going to identify those risks, and how we are properly communicate those risks to the management or to the project team. Then when the project is in the implementation phase, in that particular case, we need to continuously monitor or track the progress of the project and communicate it well to the delivery stakeholders also, and to the team members and management also. Why we are communicating the progress on a period of time? Because if there is any change that is desirable by the customer, or if there is any uncertainty that was not predicted earlier, for which we are already early scheduling our risk progress management, for those kind of the risk, we will be able to tackle, or we will be able to provide solutions on time. Otherwise, if we delay to identify a risk, give solution for that particular risk while tracking or monitoring the project performance, sometimes we are very late. We will not be able to deliver the project on time as per objectives defined. So during the project implementation phase, we need to monitor or track the progresses and communicate well to the respective authorities. When you are able to identify the risk, you must be able to react on time, response, and commit. So there can be proactive and reactive risk management strategy. So when it comes to the proactive risk management strategy, project suppose risk is there, what will be the when we set up reactive strategy? Suppose the risk is there, and if the risk is there, as a project manager or a project leader, what will be the strategy you find out with the help of your team member to resolve the risk at hand? So that is considered as a reactive risk. So when it comes to the proactive risk, initially we identify the threats and aims to prevent those events forever happen. Say for example, I'm driving a car. So when I'm driving a car, let's take an example of proactive risk management strategy. If I'm driving a car, first place for my safety, I will use a safety belt. As per the traffic rule, I will not use my cell phone. I will always kept in a flight mode, or my phone will be off when I'm driving a car. Third proactive strategy to have safety can be I will follow all the safety precaution as per the traffic rule. So these are the proactive risk management strategy that I have taken to have safety while driving. Reactive strategy can be I'm taking all kind of safety precautions while driving my vehicle, but at the same time, I am also taking life insurance or insurance of my vehicle. So why I'm doing this? What if the safety precaution fails at the first phase? What will be the other alternative that is available with me to resolve that risk at hand? So there can be two different strategies, proactive or reactive risk management strategy, by the use of which it is possible for the project leader to handle the risks that are going to arise. So, from this particular group, can any of the member explain that when it comes to the project of STC organization, what can be the proactive and reactive risk management strategy that you are going to adopt? Any solution for the risk that we have discussed till now? Suppose you are going to organize one STC in your organization. There are many risks associated with the STC organization. So how you are reactively and proactively handling those kind of a risk? Any member from the group? You can unmute or you can even write in the chat box. I hope I'm clearly audible to all of you.
Yes, ma'am, audible.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Ma'am, actually, when we are organizing such short-term course, then we need to take care of the expert speakers. If we are calling four speakers, so if someone is not available at that time, so parallelly we need to manage uh, speakers.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
I
So,
mean, we need someone in a parallel as per their specialization. We need to find out in our list.
yeah. So that is proactive strategy or reactive strategy, ma'am?
Uh, it's a reactive.
It is reactive strategy. Thank you very much, ma'am. So, say one risk that is expert has not during the STC. What will be the other option that the organizing team need to consider? So the
Ma'am, IT team
have connected and
strong.
filled all the data. Yes, ma'am.
IT team should be strong if it is online.
Yes, IT team should be strong.
I mean,
Sumit
it's
Kumar sir said ensure good connectivity. Every participant have connected and fill all the details. Sumit sir, can you please explain this is in what context? Yes, Sumit Kumar sir. Proactive. So thank you. Okay. So you have identified one risk and give solution for that particular risk also. So thank you very much, sir, for the input provided. So depending upon the kind of risk management strategy that is adopted by the project team and the leader, we need to prepare with few of the risk management strategy. So if we categorize the risk sources, so as per the process guide project guidelines during the project management, there are certain risks involved if the deliverables are not clear, not defining the clear roles and responsibilities, and inadequate resource staffing. In that particular case, there are many risks that are involved. Project definition, if unrealistic objective, the objective must always be smart. There must always be a realistic time schedule that we are going to provide to that particular project. So if you commit for an early project delivery and say the team members are not available, resources are not available on time, we are actually plotting a graph where our project is going to be failed. So whenever we are defining objective or schedule of project, it must be in a real terms. Differences in the stakeholder requirement. So first, start with the implementation part. Your organization who is handling the project and to whom we are delivering the project, they must be on the common platform. In terms of project organization, the project team plays an important role. There must be design of every event, every milestone, every activity of the project uh, planning in the form, maybe in the form of the checklist also, and every team member must be accountable for the role and responsibility that is given to him or her. And external dependency not understood very clearly. So if you have tie up with another organization, started from the financial guidelines up to pen and paperwork, all the things need to be mentioned. Project scheduling, milestone compression at the end of the project, resources are over allocated, and inadequate contingency exercises that also results in many of the risks. And there are many risks involved, like internal risk or the general risk that may be we already covered beginner risk, self-inflicted risk, or the denial risk, and internal risk that if you are committed with a new company or with the new organization, insufficient requirement clarity, lack of experienced staff. So all these parameters are going to impact our project success. So these are few of the things that we need to consider at every stage of the project management. So there are risks associated with the project, and there are some problems who do not have fixed solution. For those kind of risk associated with the project, we need to have an approach of creative problem solving. So when we said creative problem solving, in the initial discussion also we said there must be multiple solutions available project manager or project leader if your certain risks are predictable or early identified by the project team and by the project leader. If the risk arises in certain situations, case also they must be efficient enough in terms of their specialization that they are able to handle the project failures on time or risk on time. So that is why the creativity at the part of the project team plays an important role. And for such kind of problem that arises certainly or we have early identified, we need to find out and creative problem solutions for that particular issues or the risk. So here creativity plays an important role. So when it comes to the creativity, we are not talking about creativity in terms of art or in terms of innovation. When we said creativity, creativity is not always finding something new. It may be, as far as the project management practices are concerned, the solution may be available with you. We need to find out the association and relationship between different parameters so that we are able to provide or we are able to deliver the objective on time. So existing ideas, existing condition, existing relation, existing association that need mixed and matched by the project supervisor and provide a new and innovative solutions for the problem at hand. So a is process that involve the original thinking and then producing. So when we said creativity, creative refers to the novel product of the value, and creativity also refer to the person who produces the work. So when it comes to the creativity, it is always finding a new perspective that no one has ever taken. Myths about creativity. There are certain myths in the society that is creative intelligence are born always, smart people are always creative. The young are more creative than the old. Creativity is for risk taker only. It's a solitary act and it cannot be managed. But this is not true. Assumptions for the creative problem solving or creativity is everyone is creative and creativity can be learned and can be enhanced. So as per the 4C model of creativity, we consider that we all are creative up to some extent. And this model divided creativity into four different segments. One is mini C, other is little c, pro C, and big C. So when we said mini C level of creativity impact an individual ability to work for a problem. Say for example, if the risk is there, if the risk is an identifiable risk and a person, an individual is able to handle that risk on time. So that with the creative ability he or she is having. So how they are able to develop such kind of creative ability with the kind of action and insight taken by that individual over the period of time. So with experience, it is possible for the project member or the project leader to handle certain problems in a creative manner and solve that problem. And this kind of creativity changes in our understanding. So an experienced team member is able to handle many of the problems individually without the help of another team member and able to early recognize different risk situation. It means creativity can be earned, creativity can be developed with the help of experience. For this, meaningful interpretation of experiences need to be there over the period of time when our experience or when our thinking we start thinking in that particular manner, our creativity enhance. So due to the influence of another expert of that particular area, or say during the project we are interacting with the different vendors, we are interacting with the different organization for the project deliveries, we collect certain ideas from those individuals also. Those individuals are going to affect and influence our personality, and so our creative ability in terms of thinking is going to be enhanced. With the help of the formal training, it is possible for us to develop the level of creativity up to pro C level. So it totally dependent upon the culture of that organization. It is totally dependent upon the kind of experiences or kind of practices that is being forwarded, that is being offered to the employees of that organization. So creative act of the expert, experienced people and team within that organization, or what kind of communities we are going to develop, what kind of communities we can design in that particular organization. Community can be of knowledge, communities can be of practice, communities can be of sharing. So these are the three different communities that we can develop in any organization for whatever project you are working for. These communities are helping each other to solve or to identify risk and give solutions for those risks in an creative manner. So collectively, we will be able to handle many of the project problems in an organization if we are able to develop communities as per the branch of specialization of that organization. So in this 21st century, when we talk about competition in a project management skills, once the leader can be the team member of an another project. Today, the team member of a project can be the project leader for some another assignment. So we are competing with each other, but in a collaborative manner. So we need to develop or we need to share information in a collective manner so that we can develop, we can enhance our skill organization as a whole. So in this 21st century, when we talk about the project management skill or develop creativity among individuals, it is the level of the creativity that needs to be enhanced at organization level rather than training an individual or group of the individual for a specific activity or for a specific assignment. So if the management, the organization that are handling different nature of project, your team need to be specialized in such a manner that every individual is able to give his or her contribution in different nature of project that is being handled by that organization, and it come with the development of communities at organization level. And in every organization there are few project leaders that are able to handle that are able to impact the culture of the region, impact the society or world at a large. So those are the exceptional personalities available in any organization. At organization, we need to find out an individual who is very high in terms of IQ and EQ ability. That is natural inheritance of that particular individual, and that individual must lead the other members to develop such kind of skills among them, so that at large we can act as a good project team. So when it comes to the creativity, it can be classified in terms of a product, it can be classified in terms of process. Cognition and learning plays an important role, and these are the two important parameters of the environment. And personality of an individual is also play an important role. Say, for example, the same example that we was discussing earlier, STC organization as a project. Say there is one faculty in the department or at our organization who by nature is a researcher, who love to do research. That individual is very much interested in his or her core area of specialization rather than offering program in other allied or interdisciplinary area. So that is as per the demand of that particular personality. That individual want to work a lot in the field of research, and we at departmental level identify that particular individual ability as per his or her personal demands. So maybe in my department, if I'm organizing 12 different STC and that faculty is developing new research projects, offering that research projects to the student, maybe we need to give relaxation, we need to give flexibility to that particular individual to have less number of STC and more number of research projects. So when we said the creativity need to be enhanced, we need to classify, we need to differentiate the creative ability in that particular team, depending on the abilities of that particular team. We need to classify that what kind of project that individual is able to deliver as per his or her capability and experiences. We are not saying that he or she is not focusing on the vision and mission of the organization. To some extent, and on the creative ability of that particular individual, we need to give relaxation and freedom so that that individual is able to do more while working in that particular organization. When we say creativity as a product, so in a project, when we are delivering some kind of projects, a product that is new, useful, original, and surprising, we consider those as creative deliverables for that particular project. As a creative individual, we will be able to identify the problems surrounding, so that we are able to identify the risk associated with that particular project. So this is an example of the product that is produced by designed by a student of South Korea University. He identified a problem from the surrounding area, and in an interview he said, whenever we eat bread at the picnic, in the cafe, or in the airplane, we usually use disposable butter. I replaced its ordinary container lid with a wooden knife-shaped one. This way the butter can be easily and quickly spread. Butter has 4 flavors which allow the user to make a choice, just as he would choose his favorite ice cream. This container is not only easy and fast to use, but also it makes daily routine of spreading butter more fun and more exciting. So if product is very new, that product is also considered as a creative product. There are certain kind of environment that encourage creativity and that restrict creativity. So as a project team member, when my project team leader, when my project team members give me ideas to solve a problem at hand, when they are generating certain ideas, before validating the right and wrong of that particular idea, I need to create an environment where every member is free, where every member is very open to share information that is available with him or her. If that kind of open environment created for the project team member, it is possible for us to have many creative solutions for the risk associated with the project. So when it comes to designing and creative environment, it requires concentration. So we need to be mindful of the objectives that we have designed for that particular project. We must be receptive. We must be continuously working for that project deliverables. We must have ability and aptitude along with the tenacity to work towards that project goal. There must be insight and vigor that we are able to foresee the future deliverables of that particular project. We must be innovative enough to provide solution, and our thinking must be in line with the project deliverables. So yearning must also be there so that we can create a creative environment. The personality, the project team leader must be able to identify the personality traits and characteristics of the team member, and likewise the role and responsibility need to be allocated to the project staff. Process, what kind of process or what kind of solution that is being produced during that project journey, that also need to be kept in mind. Creativity always involves combination of originality and task appropriateness. This combination may seem contradictory, but if you want to have creative solution, originality and task appropriateness need to consider in mind. So how we can train our project team so that they are able to give more creative solutions for the project problem. So there are three different components of creativity that we need to consider. Expertise is the knowledge in many forms of technical, procedural, and intellectual. So as a project leader, when I'm going to define my project team, what kind of specialization that is essential for the completion of that particular project. As per the specialization required or as per the demand of that particular project, we need to train team members. And if the team members are available, we need to check out that what kind of responsibility given to what team member. So as per their expertise, we need to give or need to allocate responsibility. Motivation, there must be extrinsic motivation in the form of reward or in the form of recognition, but in organization that is handling projects of different nature, there must be intrinsic motivation or interest of the team members. It will certainly results into a sustainable development of that particular organization. So intrinsic motivation provide us more creative solution and performances of team member as compared to the extrinsic motivation. It is being said, it is a very famous saying in which it is said, if you want to retain an employee, recognize his worth. If you are not able to recognize his worth and that employee have such creative ability and potential, over the period of time that employee will be retained by an other organization. So intrinsic motivation means try to create an environment where one can work openly for the project assigned to him or her. Components of creativity also involve the thinking skills of the individual. So creative thinking skill means refer to how flexibility and imaginatively the people can approach to the different problems and tasks. There can be two different kind of thinking skill. One is the convergent thinking skill. There are some project deliverables will need to have a fixed solution. So for those fixed solution, the team member need to apply the convergent thinking skill. When we talk about the multiple solutions for the given risk associated, in that particular case, the team members must be able to think out of the box. Out of the box, they must be able to process of generate multiple related ideas for a given topic or for a given problem. So convergent and divergent thinking plays an important role to find out the creative solution for a given problem. So both the abilities are required for the creative output. If the divergent thinking is essential to the novelty of the creative product, divergent thinking is fundamental to its appropriateness. So this is required. At the same time, there are many examples available. During lunch, I was reading to the Ink magazine. In the Ink magazine, there are many success stories of the project available in one of the edition, where the entrepreneurs and the startup houses shared their stories that how society or how their own family impact their creative ability not by accepting their ideas. So there are many stories available in the literature related to the project that is initiated by many. So few I shared with all of you on screen. Western Union Internal Memo 1876 given a statement that the telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a mean of communication. This device is inherently of no use. I think there is a word market for maybe 5 computers. Thomas Watson, chairman of IBM 1943. The horse is here to stay, but the automobile is only a novelty, a fad. The president of Michigan Saving Bank advising Henry Ford, lawyer, not to invest in Ford Motor Corporation in 1903. He did anyway and parlayed $5,000 into big amount. More murder committees in the environment as an example of killing the waste community. Drill for oil, you mean drill into ground to try and find oil? Are you crazy? Heavier than air flying machines are impossible. Lord Kevin in 1895. Who the hell wants to hear actor talk? That is H.M. Warner, founder of Warner Brothers Film Studio in 1972. But when it comes to accepting the ideas of an individual before validating the ideas of the project team member, there must be an environment where all the ideas provided by those team members are welcomed by the team leader and other members of that particular project. Once there is a flow of idea, there is a generation of idea, we can validate, we can evaluate the strength of that particular ideas given. So acceptance of new idea is very difficult for our society also. But to have creative solution of a given problem and to enhance creativity of the project deliverables, we need to accept all the ideas that is coming by our team. In an organization where number of projects or the different nature of project is handled by the different individuals, there must be collective knowledge or there must be sharing of information that is happening all the time so that we can develop as an organization rather than as an individual alone. So by this, we are able to recognize risk and by this, we are able to solve many of the problems at hand by using our creative potential. So at the last of my PowerPoint presentation, I want to discuss one model of creative problem solving, that is CPS model. So this CPS model have different steps to follow. First is the mess finding, identify the issues and problems and stated as well. Fact finding, to collect information related to those problems. Problem finding, sometimes you need to restructure the problem or reframe the problem to understand the problem at large. Ideas finding, produce as many ideas that you or your team members can. Solution finding, select and strengthen the solution and plan for the action and develop a plan. So this is how it is possible for us to take risk by developing our ability to identify the risk, predict the risk, and find out different number of solutions for the risk taking. Yes, this is all from my side. If there is any question, you all are most welcome to unmute and ask.